Hey guys, Uncle Jay Shuffleboson here with another story. I'm going to tell you guys about the time that Rowdy Roddy Piper punched me in the face so hard that my jaw still makes a occasional clicking sound when I'm chewing. So this goes back to my pro wrestling days, obviously, and I wrestled. I had a Scottish gimmick because I'm half Scottish, and I wore my family kilt, Macintosh, and I'd come out with a flask, and I had the brogue, the Scottish accent, and stuff like that. And I get a call one day from Cincinnati Red, and he said, "Hey Mac, I'm a booker now for MPW, Millennium Pro Wrestling, out in San Fernando Valley, and that promotion's been shut down for a bit, but the owner, Lethal Logan X, is starting it back up. We're gonna have a big show, and I want you to come out and work it." I said, "Sure, of course." And I've never wrestled for MPW before at this point, but they're well known, you know. And he said, "Yeah, Piper's going to be there too." I'm like, "Oh fuck, that's going to be cool." And he said, "I want you to get involved with him," and he said, "We'll talk about it later." I'm like, holy shit. So I grew up watching Piper, and he had a big influence on me. And so I'm thinking, fuck, this is going to be great. This is going to be a lot of fun. So I get to the venue the day of the show, and it's in this industrial park in Chatsworth, I believe. And it wasn't like a venue you'd expect to have like a wrestling show in. Like, this was all commercial, you know, and each unit was up against the other one and stuff. And then this was like right in the middle of this street of these commercial industrial buildings. So I parked up in the front there in the parking lot, and you go through the front door, and that's where they're going to do the ticket sales right there. Then you go through the next door, and that's where the warehouse is. And it was filled with gym equipment and stuff, and it was leased out to a guy named Scott Medelson. I believe that's his last name. I could be pronouncing that incorrectly. But he has the world record for bench pressing, like the most amount of weight. And the guy's a monster. Nice guy, too. So we're moving a lot of this equipment around, and then we're setting up chairs, and we get the ring set up. And there's no locker room. So we had chairs set up behind the ring through the exit door back there that was in this alleyway. So we had chairs set up so everybody could like get ready back there. And so Red introduces me to Logan X and Dan Farron and Kurt and stuff, and great guys, really great guys. And a lot of the other wrestlers showed up and stuff, and then Piper shows up. And in my time, I've got to meet a lot of these wrestlers that I grew up watching and stuff, and all of them are really amazing. Just the nicest people, you know, very approachable. And but Piper really stood out as a guy that really was amazing and awesome, and that had no problem telling you like, "Hey, I like this, I like that," and to give you pointers on how you can improve yourself, you know, in every aspect of wrestling and stuff. So he was a very generous guy in terms of like sharing his knowledge and his history and stuff like that, and very, very nice guy. And it started getting closer to bell time, so some fans were about to start showing up. And Dan Farron, he said, "Hey Mac, I want you to take Piper around the building to the back where we're all getting ready." And I don't know why he asked me to do it, but I'm so glad that he did. So I said to him, I'm like, "Hey, we need to get to the back area now, so we're going to go out the front and then walk around." He's like, "All right, sure." So we go through the front door and then out in the parking lot, and then we had to walk around a couple other buildings and then go around the corner and walk up the alleyway to the back of the building where we were having the event at. And we're just shooting the breeze, you know? And it's almost like, I don't know, we kind of just like hit it off. We were just like talking like non-wrestling stuff, and just it's like almost like we were like friends for a while or something, you know. And we're just talking about family and just traveling and stuff like that. And I stop, and he stops, and he's like, "Everything all right?" And I just kind of shook my head and I'm like, you know, I'm in an alley with Piper, and I'm just waiting for you to grab me and slam me up against the wall and tell me to put on some sunglasses. And he starts laughing his ass off, and oh, there's Shithead. The elusive Shithead has returned. And we just went back to the backstage area where we were going to get ready for the show. And so the main event was Cincinnati Red versus Lethal Logan X in a hair versus badge match. If Logan X lost the match, then he'd have to throw his police badge in a trash can or something. And I don't remember what that was about. But if Red lost, then he'd have to cut his hair. And Red at that time had really long red hair. So that was the main event. And I was going to be Red's manager. So we were going to do, like, before the semi-main, that there was going to be a Piper's Pit where we built up the main event match. And Roddy was totally down for it. He didn't say no to anything. But he also threw in some awesome creative input as well. And so it's going to be me in the ring with Red and Piper, and we're going to do this Piper's Pit and talk about the match and all that stuff. So tons of fans show up, and I was involved in a battle royal earlier, which I made another video about, which I almost got killed in. Anyway, so it's time for Piper's Pit. So I'm wearing my Macintosh kilt, and I got a shirt on that says "I'm with Stupid" on it with an arrow pointing like that way, and I got my flask. And Red and I get in the ring with Piper, and we're just cutting this promo and stuff. And I was such a big admirer and fan of him that I read his book, and there's some things about it in the book that he talked about. He bought this yellow convertible that he called the Yellow Canary, and just some other things. And there's a funny story in his book where he was supposed to wrestle a bear, like a real bear. And one of the other guys in the locker room, right before Piper was heading out to the ring, this guy slapped him in the ass and he said, "Hey, have a good match." Well, Piper gets into the ring with this bear. And the guy that owned the bear, he said, "Oh, he wrestles with my kids, and he's not aggressive with them. He kind of matches their strength and level of intensity. So just roll around with him, but don't try and outmuscle him or anything, because he'll match you, you know." And there's more to that story. When Piper showed up in the locker room, he saw that bear drinking Jack Daniels, and so anyway, you got to read his book. Anyway. So he went to the ring, got in the ring with the bear, and the bear immediately like just picked him up and just slammed him down and buried his nose up his ass. And Piper starts kicking him and punching him and trying to get him off of him. And the bear like slammed him again and buried his nose up his ass again. Long story short, the bear pulled his trunks off, and Piper ran out of the ring naked to the locker room, and all the guys were laughing and stuff. So the guy that slapped him in the ass and said, "Hey, have a good match," that guy had a handful of honey, and Piper didn't know it. So that's kind of important to the story I'm telling. So when I'm on the mic and I'm in the ring with him, I say, "Hello there, cousin. I haven't heard from you in a while. You don't talk to me anymore. You know, it's not like I slapped you in the ass with a handful of honey. You know, we don't ride around in the Yellow Canary anymore. What's going on?" You know, and so I said all that stuff, and like the fans didn't, unless they read that book, they had no idea what the hell I was talking about. But that was something that I wanted to be special between Piper and myself, and I could see it in his eyes that he just started glowing. He's like, "Wow, that's really funny. That's great." You know, it was like personal stuff that happened to him in his life that I tried to incorporate myself in a way, and I could tell that he was generally touched by that. you know. And so that was really cool. And so we did that Piper's Pit, and it was really good. And then it was time for the main event. And I come out to the ring with Red. And I've known Red for years, but I've never seen him wrestle. And Red did some high-flying moves for a guy his size that I never thought he could pull off. He did like moonsaults and stuff, and Red came out with a bat with barbed wire wrapped around it. And he got Logan X in the corner. He starts cutting him with the barbed wire and stuff. And Logan X bled all over the place. And then there's a point in the match where I got in the ring for something. And then Roddy Piper comes running in and stuff. Crowd goes nuts. And this was already talked about. He's like, yeah, I'm just going to hit you guys. And you guys just powder out, blah, blah, blah. So he comes into the ring, and he turns me around, and he blasts me so hard in the jaw, it knocked me out. I remember, and then the next thing I know, I'm on the canvas, and he's kicking me in the ribs to get me out of the ring. He knocked me out for like a second there. And I'm like, oh my God, like I've never been hit that hard in wrestling. And and then the match ended with Logan X beating Cincinnati Red, and then Red, you know, he's gonna get his hair cut, and Logan X was gonna do it, but he insisted that Piper did it. So Piper gave him a haircut right there in the ring. Crowd loved it. It was a great time, and him and I talked later, and he was just so kind and such a nice guy. But my jaw's like freaking killing me, and so that was my first time wrestling for MPW, and I had a great time with that promotion since. And they're back now that COVID's done. These guys are running shows again out there in SoCal, so check them out. And also, I'm gonna wrap this up with Shark Week is coming on the 11th. So far, I have like 53 poop stories from you guys. So if you have a funny poop story that you want it to be included in Shark Week, send it to my email down below. I'm going to do these live, probably 7 p.m. every night until I might do like 10 of these poop stories per night live on YouTube. So anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this story. If you did, give it a like, subscribe. Doesn't cost you anything. Check me out on Twitch. And I have a Discord server, so you guys can come hang out with me and my friends over there. Alright, so anyways, that's it. Shark Week is coming. Send me some poop stories. Oh yeah.